and she was adopted by a white family in the States, and she kind of was trying to just fool him by letting him know that she already knows her mom. But I can't remember how the scene played out. I can't quite track that right now, but he said this one line, like, how do you know who you are if you don't even know where you come from? And I had to pause the movie and didn't return to the movie for a week because I was digesting that, because it was so in line with everything that I've been processing and the patterns that I've been noticing with lack of um people being given the space to just pause in education to know who they are. Because if we're talking about healing with the earth and nature, that is inseparable. That is inseparable. Vis medicatrix medicatrix naturae is one of the Latin naturopathic principles that our field has identified with, but some people don't even know how to define it. It's just talked about, like what you said. It's normal. It's this. It's like we know this is right, but like some very profound people in the field don't have admitted out loud that they don't even know what that means, and they represent the image and the face of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
knowing who we are, our ancestors, our oldest ancestors who knew how to track movements on the earth, the patterns in the wind and the spirits of the wind, how animals were moving and being, what birds sang at what times, at certain seasons of the years, like that is earth medicine, and our ancestors moved and flowed with that. And that's also how they learned about the medicinal aspects of plants through the animals, through the seasons and everything. But if that's not talked about in the curriculum, how are we going to know, right? Because if that's
yeah.
not there, it's going to be more challenging to spark some curiosity, because there's already no room with the overwhelm in the curriculum, right? Trying to drink
Yeah.
this fire hose. So yeah, that's some of my
You,
thoughts
it's
on
so
that.
funny. You just said a bird just came and hit the sunroom and just is staring at me, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
hi Shannon's bird.
Yeah, yeah, they're my friends. But yeah, see, like there's always like our planet's always affirming something, like through that visit with the bird in your neighborhood in this
Yeah,
moment when something
yeah,
really crucial is being shared. And
absolutely, absolutely. I'm just relighting my incense. um, yeah, I think what you just said was just so beautiful. It brought me to how I started studying specifically Kemetic, like ancient
hmm
Egyptian, and that's
yeah.
like what all of my jewelry and things are about when I wear my ankhs. And it's not because I am like, oh, this is my religion. You know what I'm saying? But I think just knowing that they understood that spirituality, health, and the earth is all one thing. And for me, that language was like, oh, this is like the V's. You know what I'm saying? But that was the language I needed it in, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really quite understand it when it's like Greek or whatever that whatever. No
Greek and
disrespect,
Latin.
but Latin. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like I
Yeah.
get it, but I don't know if everyone. I kind of get it. I don't know if everyone kind of get it. Like you're saying, like
Yeah.
does anyone know really what this is? But sometimes we try to make someone else's language our language, and it can work if it rolls with you and it feels good in your body. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, I feel like comedic was like, oh my god, this is
Mm,
this is what it is. Like
mm.
spirituality is the same as connection to the earth, and it's the same as your health. And so yeah, just knowing that and knowing, okay, well, this is also part of like my ancient culture. So why not learn it and read it and study it along with other things? Ifa was another one that kind of goes into that. But, I think it's important for each individual person who does medicine, especially natural medicine, to
Mm,
take that journey, so we can have the right language for when we want to help people.
mm. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I how that you touch on a few things that I've been deeply, deeply reflecting on in the since this past fall in
Mhm.
2025. So fall is kind of like a season of harvesting, and then you're getting ready to go to sleep with the planet as you approach winter, the next season of winter. So I was slowing down and doing a lot of reflecting, which was very much in alignment with the energetics and the chi quality of autumn. And I had realized that so much of our medical terminology either has Greek or Latin roots. Like for example, like the folding of amino acids and proteins, right? Alpha, gamma, kappa. It's all that language, and we know from the Greeks and the Romans were the ones who kind of spearheaded a direction of medicine where it became reductionist and one way or another has led to modern science, which has a place and a role. So that languaging has been continued in modern and conventional medicine for so long. But I would only imagine like how Paris, how do you feel if even in modern modern medicine, like if some of the words brought in the invocation of Kemetic root words, how do you just imagine? This is just a like an imaginative play experiment I'm kind of initiating with you right now. Like let's say um one of those words was a Kemetic word instead, right? Whether it was used in biochemistry or organic chemistry or physiology or whatever. How do you feel like it would land in a certain way with you?
You know, I think that it's the language of like the specific thing is kind of what it is,
Yeah.
regardless of what language it is. If it's a heart attack, you know, you can say that in any language and it will still be a heart attack, right?
Mhm.
However, sometimes what I think language also opens up is that there's some words that just do not exist in certain languages, right?
Mhm.
So, yes, like the conventional, like, okay, what we call something is just pathologically what it is, but also the breakdown and the meanings of what those things could be spiritually is kind of important for me. And I think that also, how do I say this? I think that a lot of things make sense when you have the ancestral language for it for me, because the way that I see the world and the nuance in certain things is different when it's put into Latin or when it's so it's all based off of my own personal understanding of one moment. Sorry about that. So it's I think that I'm sorry. I lost my train of
It's all
thought.
right. Yeah.
You so
Totally
you're so
fine.
you were asking if the language was slightly it was in the language that I could understand more, um ancestrally or just culturally, would that make a difference? And I think so. I think the depth of what certain things are, like, how the heart was viewed in Kemetic language is still similar, right? It's still very similar, but the language and the breakdown of it is slightly different. And it makes more sense when going into like the fact that you can have what's that the I don't forget how to say it when you die of a broken heart. Takasabi. I can't remember the word. I can't
I
remember,
used to
but
know it. It's okay.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
figure
yeah.
it out later.
Yeah, yeah, like when you think of conditions that it's like, okay, how do you explain this? Well, it was explained in a different language. There were the words for it. But there's it kind of the words are different when you switch the language. So there's so many limitations to everyone's culture, everyone's language, but as long as it resonates with yourself, I think
Yeah.
that is really important for me as a learner,
Mm.
as a student. So I hope that answered your question. I kind of got like I kind of got distracted a bit, but um yeah, did I answer
Yeah.
that?
I I feel like you offered a really good perspective, and it's going to really mean something to somebody. So
That's
with
right.
that, yeah, with that being said, I'll share then I'll probably share my how I would answer that question if I got asked the question. It's like, yeah, I feel like if there was more languaging in modern medicine, not I'm not saying that there isn't from different because there do different languages do come in. It's not always just Greek and Latin, but I feel like if there was more of that, it would touch me in a specific way
Mhm.
because our ancestors' tongue, the words they spoke, the dialects they speak, they carry a, like I said, an invocation or a certain frequency or chi quality that can land in our bodies, I feel like. And this is what I personally feel. And what I've been learning is, like, for example, my acupuncturist says that if they put in a needle and they just call it like kidney one, right?
Mhm.
That would be different from actually saying the Chinese name of that plant,
Yeah.
because that is like, you know how like you're probably familiar with words are spells, right? Have you come across that
Yeah.
before? So when you invoke the name of the acupuncture point, it actually almost like makes it even more powerful.
Oh, absolutely.